thanks for joining us. We're here tonight to celebrate Just Adventure Art's opening reception here virtually. This is pretty cool. Mark and I are fortunate enough to have the opportunity to interview Oliver with the Venture Out Project. And I just would like to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions that you wanted to start off with?
Well, specific questions I don't. I just know that they're located in a place that's very close to my heart, near my hometown of Holyoke, Massachusetts. They're in Northampton, Massachusetts, a place I'm very familiar with. And reading through the website, it looks like y'all are doing some really incredible stuff. And I think we would just really like to know more about kind of what the Venture Out Project is and what you're all about.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Oliver Wright. I use he and him pronouns. And like you said, I am joining you from the ancestral lands of the Nipmuc and Pecumtuck peoples, also known as Northampton, Massachusetts. I'm really excited to be here and to be involved in what Just Adventure Art is doing. I am the programs lead here at the Venture Out Project, which means that I run our volunteer program. I have a hand in our education piece where we run trans inclusivity trainings. And I also handle all of our day events and registration for all of our trips. Yeah. So we are an outdoor queer organization that runs wilderness trips and outdoor adventures for the queer, trans, LGBTQ plus community. Our goal here is really just to get queer people outside, get them together. I think our organization really started as more of we wanted to get queer people outside to teach them, how to backpack and, what to do outside. And I think in doing this, we found that we had a lot of people who returned, and we had a lot of people who were expert backpackers who came to join us just for the community. And so we really changed what our mission is from like teaching, which we still teach on our trips. We have a lot of beginner trips, but our organization now is more about building community and using the outdoors to do it. And we do that through everything from hiking to rock climbing to snowshoeing, canoeing, skiing. We have a lot of different programs and events that happen now.
Are LGBTQ plus people, are their legs broken? Why do they need help going camping? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. The outdoors has historically been a very straight, white, able-bodied, thin place to be. And other people have always existed in the outdoors, but when you don't see that as much, you don't see yourself portrayed and represented in those spaces. It's hard to join them. It's hard to know how to join them, what equipment you need, where to go. And this is really a space where we want to invite people in and say that you belong here, you belong with us, you belong in the outdoors. This is a place for you.
Can you talk to the positive aspects of being outdoors and what it does to the body and to our mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there's a healing power to nature. And I think part of what we're doing here is that we're bringing that healing power of nature together with the healing power of community into one sort of experience for people. Because nature, just being outside releases all kinds of hormones and endorphins and just kind of like all the feel-good juices in your body. And I think community does the same thing, and to have them both is really a special experience. And I think that especially for underrepresented folks in the community, here we deal specifically with queer folks. And I think that LGBTQ plus folks have a complicated history with our bodies. I think that, society tells a lot of us ways that we should look or ways that our bodies are wrong. Or, you know, I think our bodies are constantly like being policed by society, and I think, and ourselves a lot of the time. But I think that if that body can get you up a mountain, you know, there's a new appreciation to be found there for that body. There's so much diversity within the LGBT community that, yeah, we actually have run. So all of our trips and events are queer based trips and events, but we also run other like sort of affinity trips. We run like women's trips. We run BIPOC trips. We've had like trans and gender nonconforming only trips. So yeah, we've tried to like, while catering to the entire community, we realize there's a lot of intersection of identities, and sometimes it's nice to be around people who have those same intersections of identity. And yeah, we've tried to cater to that as well.
We recently at the PFCA we have a monthly film program and then a community discussion. And last month we discussed the movie Crip Camp, which was amazing.
If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's very good.
Yeah. Our lead facilitator was from the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition. And they were talking about how this film like changed everything that they did in-house. And once you see the film, you'll get it. But it is the idea that we've spent so long trying to conform and be a part of society that we forgot that we must find community together. And they readjusted their entire programming because of that inspiration. Can you maybe talk to that, like the importance of community in your work within our community?
Yeah, I definitely think community is so important, and being around people who share an identity with you, who share an experience. I think that in a lot of outdoor spaces or on a trip with an organization that is not geared to a specific identity, I think a lot of queer people don't feel safe. I mean, there's, you never know who you're going to end up with or what their feelings about you are going to be. And I think that being in a group of queer people is freeing in a way that you can automatically feel safer, and that you know that these people at least understand you a little more, at least accept you for who you are. And I think especially in the outdoors, it's such a hard thing to be a queer person and to feel comfortable enough to open yourself up to new experiences. And so when you already have that level of comfort being around people like you can really open up and be vulnerable and try new things. It's so hard when you're always, expending at least some energy protecting yourself and keeping your guard up. It's hard to really relax into something or try something new. Go backpacking for the first time, go rock climbing for the first time. Those are experiences that are really vulnerable and feel really scary. And if you are already protecting yourself and feeling scared, how are you going to push yourself to do those things?
I would love to hear some of your positive stories from your programs and your trips. Do you have any that you'd like to share?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is my own story that, I came to venture out in 2015. I came on the first ever venture out outing, which was a queer snowshoe event. I had just moved to Massachusetts. I wanted to get outside and do stuff. I wanted to be around queer people. And as soon as I saw that event, I was like, that's it. That's the thing I want to do. And I went, and it was amazing. I hung out with 20 other queer people in the woods snowshoeing, something I'd never done before. And I completely fell in love with it. And then I started going to all the events, and then I started hiking on my own, and I became a volunteer, and I became an instructor, and now I work here. This is my job. You know, I guess I'm kind of the like poster child of Venture Out, because I worked my way from participant all the way to being the programs lead. So I think for me personally, like getting to see other people experience what I experienced is so great. Seeing other people really like figuring themselves out and figuring out the outdoors and like opening up in a way that a lot of times you wouldn't outside of this experience, to me is so magical. It's just so great to see and to know that like I've been in that same place. It's just great.
Was there any particular moment on a trip where it was, you know, the clouds parted and everybody was like, oh, there was a rainbow and everybody was like, yay, you know? I mean, it happens, you know, it does.
It does. I think that it happens a lot for us. I think one of the biggest things, especially with people who come on our trips who've never been backpacking, and maybe they've hiked some and they've got a little bit of experience, but they just, I'm thinking of one person in particular that I had a trip with, who came, and she was so excited for coming. She's like, I just started hiking. I'm so into it. I can't wait to do this. And I think we go on these trips. That particular trip had a lot of people who were experienced backpackers. I think she was the only one that was new. So I think, you know, she moved a little bit slower than everyone, which is totally fine. We move at the pace of the slowest person, and you know, we never complain or feel bad about how slow we're going, because we're here as a group. We're here to like have fun together. And you know, she was so out of breath when we got to the top of this mountain, and when she walked out onto the ledge, she threw her arms up and was like, this is amazing. It was the highest mountain she'd ever been on. It was so exciting to her to like reach the top of this mountain and be able to see for miles and miles and miles. And I think that happens a lot on our trips, like especially for beginner backpackers, is like getting to that view and just being like, wow, like, look what I did. This is so cool. We take people out on these trips, and, you know, getting these queer people together, that just, I think that those kind of conversations, the deep conversations, just come up. I mean, we do, you know, gather around a campfire every night and hang out together, and we really have some amazing conversations. And I think we try to save space both for those like traumatic, hard conversations, while also experiencing a lot of like queer joy, doing a lot of laughing.
So important. So important.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that queer joy. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's like, it's really, well, my last question, and it's kind of a big one in that we have a lot of nonprofits and organizations here in our area that have a focus on the outdoors and nature around us. And I would love it if you would speak to them about your programs and the importance of including queer people in outdoor spaces.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to incorporate not just queer folks, but any like underrepresented identities in the outdoors, to really reach out with open arms and welcome them in. And, you know, not just say like on your website that like everyone's welcome here, but specifically reach out to people, tell them that they're welcome, invite them in, you know, hold space for every sort of people, do trainings for your organizations. You know, there are so many, of course, different kinds of like DEI trainings, but bringing a lot of those in. You know, we run specific trans inclusivity trainings for outdoor schools, brands, organizations. And I find that work is so important, especially for these organizations that are open to everyone. And there are so many great people in those organizations who want to do a lot of good work and want to welcome people in. And I think figuring out how is the hard part. And I think, reaching out to people, having those trainings, putting in that work to really welcome everyone into your space is so important.
Well, Oliver, I would really like to thank you for joining us. And can you tell people how they can find you online, as well as how to contact you?
Yeah. So we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, at the Venture Out Project, our website, ventureoutproject.com. We have a mailing list there. We send out quarterly emails with everything going on, upcoming trips and events. Yeah, we'd love for anybody to join us, to spread the word about our trans inclusivity trainings that we offer, to come on a trip with us. We have a volunteer program. It's not currently up and running this year due to COVID, but yeah, we are always looking for new volunteers and instructors. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
the 413.
And we hope that this is the start of a wonderful relationship for us with Venture Out.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Oliver.